I love this concept of a Saigon moment. It's not a Saigon moment. I mean, it's not like the definition of this is not a function of us flying out of there and people hanging on to the planes or the helicopters, as it were, at Saigon. The definition of this is the real lesson is that we can't do what we think we can do. And we need to stop pretending
to do what we think we can do is my point too. Like, we can't do what we think we can do, which is, set up infrastructure and we didn't even put the effort to do it. Do the effort,
Here's clip number 2.
This troop surge to airlift Americans out of Afghanistan. Aren't we already in the midst of a Saigon moment?
No, we're not. Remember, this is not Saigon. We went to Afghanistan 20 years ago with one mission. And that mission was to deal with the folks who attacked us on 9/11. And we have succeeded in that mission. The objective that we set, bringing those who attacked us to justice, making sure that they couldn't attack us again from Afghanistan, we've succeeded in that mission. And in fact, we succeeded a while ago. And at the same time, remaining in Afghanistan for another 1, 5, 10 years is not in the national interest. The British were there for a long time in the 19th century. The Russians were there for a long time in the 20th century. We've now been there twice as long as the Russians. And how that's in our national interest, I don't see. And as I mentioned a moment ago, I think most of our strategic competitors around the world would like nothing better than for us to remain in Afghanistan for another year, 5 years, 10 years, and have those resources dedicated to being in the midst of a civil war. It's simply not in our interest.
I mean, he's right there. He's right there. I mean, I don't, justice, I don't like the use of justice to include just assassinations in terms of bin Laden. Nevertheless, this is defined by the disaster that existed. I mean, you could argue on some level that it's a Saigon moment, but it's not really a Saigon moment. You could argue it's a Vietnam moment, if you will. And that moment is, years in the making.
And what's the through line? And what's the through line?
It's been a Vietnam couple of decades or 4 decades, depending on how you look at it.
Right. Isn't this just another situation of we had a moment that allowed us to sort of reflect on the fact that this was, wait, what? Wait, we just did what? For how long? And how many people died? And for what reason? That's what this moment is. This is not a moment of helicopters taking off or planes taking off and some bad images on video. This is another moment of us realizing hey, we just wasted tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of lives and money, and for absolutely, really not much, if anything.
For what? And that's the question.
We were able to assassinate bin Laden.
Well, we could have had him right away.
Well, we also got to feed the war dogs for decades.
Right. Well, although not even really, because they were still hungry enough to launch a second war that killed even more people.
Right. Well, we got to operate a U.S. police state very lazily for 20 years and then burn a bunch of money and result in the deaths of thousands and thousands and thousands of people, which interestingly is not at the forefront of that conversation between Jake Tapper and Blinken there, by the way.
It's probably longer than they spent on the Afghanistan papers. And, it really, like I say, you can find one clip from those. We got the Afghan forces we deserved. Douglas Lute, an Army lieutenant general, served in the White House as Afghan war czar under Presidents George W. Bush and Obama, told government interviewers if the U.S. government had ramped up training between 2002 and 2006, when the Taliban was weak and disorganized, things may have been different, Lute added. Instead, we went to Iraq. If we committed money deliberately and sooner, we could have had a different outcome. And maybe that is the case. And that's the one that, that's the failure on the terms of the most hawkish. Never mind those that say that we shouldn't have gone in when we had the opportunity to just get bin Laden served up to us. Folks, there's more of what you've just saw where that came from. That's if you hit the subscribe and like button. Thank you. Really, thank you.